Silence. The school hallway echoes with the sound of a fist against metal. A boy falls to the ground, blood trickling from his nose. But it's not the victim of bullying, it's the aggressor. And so begins the fall of Andrew Silver. Expelled. Abandoned. A night janitor cleaning the dreams that could have been his. 15 years pass in the blink of bitter eyes. But fate has a peculiar sense of humor. A familiar voice echoes from a meeting room. A face from the past, now in an impeccable suit. The seed planted so long ago finally blooms. Second chances arise in the most unlikely places. Redemption has many faces. How can a single action save one life and ruin another? How can failure be the foundation of the greatest triumph? This isn't just Andrew's story. It's a mirror. It's a challenge. What would you do if you could rewrite your biggest regret? In the next few minutes, witness a journey that defies everything you thought you knew about courage, forgiveness, and the power of starting over. Get ready. This narrative will shake your convictions to the core. The countdown begins now. Your perspective will never be the same. But before we tell this inspiring story, I want to extend a special invitation to you. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. This is crucial for the channel's growth and will ensure you're notified about new videos. Now that you've subscribed to the channel, I want to give you a very special tip. Have you ever thought about earning income from your home in dollars? Click the link in the description and see how you can make this happen. Now, let's get to today's video. Hello, you on the other side of the screen. Today I'm going to tell a story that will touch your heart and maybe change your perspective on life. So, get comfortable and prepare to embark on this emotional journey. In a bustling city where skyscrapers touched the sky and streets pulsed with the frenetic energy of urban life, lived Andrew Silver, a middle-aged man whose bitterness was as palpable as the concrete beneath his feet. His face, marked by deep lines of discontent, told a silent story of shattered dreams and lost opportunities. But it wasn't always like this. Let's go back 15 years, when Andrew was just a 17-year-old boy. He walked the halls of New Horizon High School with hunched shoulders, carrying not just his backpack, but the weight of being a mediocre student in an institution that valued only academic excellence. On that fateful autumn morning, Andrew witnessed a scene that would change the course of his life. Luke, a shy and scrawny freshman, was being cornered by a group of bullies led by Phil, the school's star athlete. "Hey freak, we've told you your ugly face scares away the girls here," Phil taunted, pushing Luke against the lockers. Andrew felt the blood boil in his veins. Without thinking twice, he interposed himself between Luke and his aggressors. "Enough, Phil. Leave him alone," Andrew shouted, his voice echoing through the silent corridor. Phil, surprised by the unexpected intervention, momentarily backed off. "This is none of your business, loser," he retorted, advancing threateningly. What followed was a confusion of punches and shoves. When the dust settled, Phil was on the ground with a bleeding nose, and Andrew, panting, remained standing, protecting Luke. Principal Mrs. Carter, a stern woman with gray hair always tied in a tight bun, summoned Andrew to her office. Her gaze was icy when she pronounced the words that would seal the young man's fate. "Mr. Silver, your violent attitude is unacceptable in this institution. I am extremely disappointed. You are expelled, effective immediately," Andrew tried to explain. "But, Mrs. Carter, I was just defending a classmate who was being bullied." The principal, unyielding, replied, "Violence is never the answer, Mr. Silver. You should have sought out a responsible adult. Now, gather your belongings and leave campus immediately." The years that followed were a blur of temporary jobs, lost opportunities, and growing resentment. Andrew found himself trapped in a vicious cycle of self-pity and bitterness. At 32, he was a broken man, working as a night janitor in an office downtown. His routine consisted of cleaning up the remnants left by people he imagined having successful lives, lives that could have been his if it weren't for that fateful day. On a particularly cold night, as Andrew cleaned the windows on the 20th floor, he heard a familiar voice coming from the meeting room. And that's why our company is committed to creating an inclusive and harassment-free work environment. Curious, Andrew peeked through the half-open door. There was Luke, That same scrawny kid he had defended years ago, now a confident man in an impeccable suit, conducting a presentation to a room full of executives. Andrew's heart raced. He wanted to walk in, shout, "Remember me?" But shame held him back. Instead, he continued his work, his mind full of what-ifs and regrets. The next morning, exhausted after his shift, Andrew found an envelope on his desk in the employee locker room. Inside was a card with the company logo and a handwritten note. "Andrew, I recognized you last night. I never forgot what you did for me. I'd like to talk. Please meet me at the corner cafe at 10 o'clock. Luke, with his heart in his throat, Andrew went to the meeting. Luke greeted him with a warm hug. "Andrew, you changed my life that day. Your courage inspired me to overcome my fears and fight against bullying. Today, I lead awareness programs in schools and companies." Andrew, with tears in his eyes, poured out how that incident had ruined his life. Luke listened attentively and then said, "Andrew, you're not a victim of circumstances. You're a hero who hasn't realized his potential yet. Let me help you start over." In the months that followed, with Luke's support and mentorship, Andrew embarked on a journey of self-discovery and learning. He enrolled in night classes, improved his communication skills, and slowly began to rebuild his self-esteem. The process wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt and a desire to give up, but with each obstacle overcome, Andrew felt his inner strength grow. 3 years later, Andrew returned to New Horizon High School, no longer as an expelled student, but as a guest speaker. The audience, composed of students, teachers, and parents, listened attentively to his story of fall and rise. Among those present was Mrs. Carter, now retired, her eyes brimming with tears of regret and admiration. At the end of the lecture, Andrew concluded, "My expulsion wasn't the end, it was just the beginning of a journey. I learned that our choices, no matter how difficult, can be seeds of transformation." Today, I work alongside Luke, helping young people find their voice and their worth. It's never too late to start over, never too late to make a difference. As Andrew left the auditorium, he was approached by Mrs. Carter. "Mr. Silver, I made a terrible mistake that day. I can understand if you don't want to forgive me, but..." Andrew gently interrupted her. "Mrs. Carter, that decision led me down a difficult path, but it also brought me here. There's nothing to forgive. Every choice, every mistake, shapes us. What's important is what we do with the lessons learned." The two embraced, symbolizing not just a personal reconciliation, but a living testimony that understanding, forgiveness, and perseverance can transform even the bitterest situations into opportunities for growth and redemption. And here, my dear listener, we come to the end of this inspiring story. But before we close, I want to leave you with some reflections. This narrative reminds us that true heroism often comes with sacrifices and that our actions, no matter how small they may seem, can have a lasting impact on the lives of others. Andrew, by defending Luke, planted a seed of courage that, years later, would flourish not only in Luke's life but also in his own. Andrew's journey teaches us that it's never too late to start over. Regardless of your past, you always have an opportunity to rewrite your story. The adversities you face today can become the foundations of your future strength. Remember the power of kindness. A single act of kindness can create waves of positive change that extend far beyond your immediate perception. And never underestimate the importance of perseverance. Success is rarely instant. It's through persistence and hard work that we achieve our goals. Finally, don't forget the value of forgiveness. Forgiving not only liberates the other but also liberates us, opening doors to new beginnings. May this story serve as a reminder that you, yes, you who are listening to me now, have the power to make a difference, not only in the lives of others but also in your own journey of growth and personal fulfillment. Thank you for accompanying me on this emotional journey. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave your like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content like this. Until next time.